Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we'll be covering our picks for the top 10 free mixing plugins. We'll be breaking them down into 5 categories and looking at them in this order: compressors, equalizers, saturators, stereo imagers, and reverbs. We'll cover each plugin's functionality as well as listen to some examples of each, so stick around for the full video. But first, if you're an artist, engineer, or producer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you gotta do is set up this short account, upload the song, and we can do the rest. Starting off with the compressors at number 10, we have Setschav by Audio Fusion Bureau. If you're looking for a compressor that's miles apart from your clean stock compressor, the Setschav is a fantastic option. With this plugin, the more you compress the signal, the more it begins to distort. In the plugin, you have an input and output dial, both of which have a range of 48 dB. In the middle are your attack and release knobs. The attack ranges from 1.2 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds, while the release ranges from 20 milliseconds to 5 seconds. The threshold ranges from 0 dB to negative 36 dB, while the ratio offers a clean 1:1, all the way up to 20:1, meaning that you can just about use this compressor as a limiter if you wanted to. Lastly, the knee dial lets you introduce soft knee compression by increasing the number from 1 to 5, with 1 being your hard knee setting.
Said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down.
At number 9, we have Feedback Compressor 2 by Tokyo Dawn Labs. First off, the feedback compressor works by measuring the compressor's output and then determining how to compress the signal, instead of the typical feed-forward routing. And up top is your threshold, a peak crest, which changes the threshold of your loudest peak, meaning you can compress your signal without compressing the peaks. A soft knee introduces a soft knee threshold, which causes more natural sounding compression, but more overall attenuation. To the right of this, you can switch your ratio between a traditional ratio and a limiter. At the bottom of the plugin is your attack and release times. The attack ranges from 0.01 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds, making it great for incredibly fast compression. The release ranges from 5 milliseconds to 2 seconds. You'll also notice that the release is broken up into 2 types: peak, which measures the signal in peak reduction, and RMS, which measures the signal in RMS, or essentially its average loudness. And whichever release type results in more attenuation will be used by the compressor. On the left, you can introduce a high-pass filter to your sidechain. In the middle window, you have a visualization of your threshold and a meter for gain reduction. Precise mode is a more accurate form of processing, whereas eco is less taxing on your computer. Delta lets you listen to the compression that's occurring, while bypass turns the plugin off. Lastly, in the output section, you can alter your makeup gain, introduce your dry mix back into your output, and change the output gain.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down.
Up next, let's cover the equalizers by starting with M Equalizer by Melda Audio Production. The M Equalizer is one of the most versatile equalizers I've ever come across. This EQ has 6 bands in total. By left-clicking, you can affect the band in greater detail. You can switch the band type between 10 different filters, change the frequency, the Q value, invert the gain, make the band linear in its phase, change the channel it's on, and introduce harmonics, and so on. In the middle display, you can add areas which can be really helpful when you're equalizing particular instruments. You can also turn on your analyzer and affect this analyzer's display in the Settings tab. Up top, you can alter your wet-dry, increase your output's amplitude, and introduce some compression and harmonics with the saturation dial. Now, like all Melda Audio plugins, you can randomize the settings up top and alter the output's routing from stereo to mid-side and more.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Number 7 is Blindfold EQ by Audio Thing. If you're looking for something that's a bit simpler and more straightforward, the Blindfold EQ by Audio Thing is a good option. 4 frequency bands keep things simple. The low frequency bands range from 20 Hz to 200 Hz. Low mid frequency ranges from 200 Hz to about 2.1 kHz. High mid frequency from about 700 Hz to 7 kHz. And high frequency from about 3 kHz to 20 kHz. The low and high filters are shelf filters, whereas the middle 2 are bell filters with variable Q values. Each band offers a range of about 48 dB. In the output section, you'll notice a soft clip function, which introduces a limiter and causes some harmonic generation, and an analog option, which introduces even more harmonics, as well as attenuates some of the high frequency range. Up top, you can save your settings, delete a preset, or randomize your settings.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Next, let's take a look at the saturators, starting with Tape Cassette 2 by Kalium Audio. The Tape Cassette 2 allows for both lo-fi and hi-fi saturation and timbre altering. At the bottom of the plugin, we have 5 rotaries. A saturation rotary, which introduces soft knee compression, makeup gain, and harmonic generation. A low-pass filter, which can be used to attenuate the high-frequency range. A noise dial, which introduces some real sampled tape noise. Wow, which introduces frequency and amplitude modulation to lower frequencies. And Flutter, which is similar to Wow but on the higher frequencies. The plugin also offers a Tape Type 1 impulse response tab, which seems to attenuate the high frequency range, as well as introduce other lo-fi artifacts and timbres. Lastly, the signal can be oversampled, which comes in handy when you're using more intense saturation levels.
said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Up next at number 5, we have FET Drive by Analog Obsession. For an FET sound and an ability to equalize instruments while saturating them, the FET Drive is a great option. Now, the mixed rotary works as a wet-dry input, determining how much of your signal will be run through the 3 remaining plugin functions. The tone dial is a frequency attenuator, which in turn determines which frequencies will be distorted by the drive function. The drive works as described by introducing more or less compression and distortion in the form of even and odd harmonics. The output rotary offers 30 dB of range, and a bypass icon can be clicked at the bottom of the plugin.
This will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Let's take a look at some free stereo imagers, starting with the M-Auto Pan by Melda Audio Production. So, the next few plugins on this list are going to be from Melda Audio Production, the reason being they have a huge free download of 38 plugins that are all perfect for mixing. The M-Auto Pan is one of these free plugins, and it allows you to alter the panning of a signal over a period of time. In the main window, you can alter your panning type by altering the shape of your waveform, or by clicking on one of the waveform shortcuts. In the harmonics section, you can generate harmonics on top of your panning. Now up top, you can affect your panning with a depth dial, change the rate at which the panning occurs, change the pan law to make the panning more or less intense, and blend in oscillation with the LFO override. Your panning can also be set to be in time with the tempo of your track based on various note lengths, types, and as they relate to phase.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Number 3, Stereo Expander by Melda Audio Production. For a simpler stereo imaging plugin, Melda Audio also makes the M Stereo Expander, a rudimentary delay stereo expander. In the middle window, you have your displays for your input, output, and the stereo width from mono to 100% expansion, all the way to stereo inversion. Now on the left is your depth dial, which increases or decreases the stereo width. A high pass and low pass filter can be enabled to expand only certain aspects of the frequency response. A resonance filter can be added to these cutoffs by using the resonance slider. The width can also be increased by using delay and made even more intense with the delay depth slider. Last up, we have our 2 free reverb plugins, starting with the M-Charm Verb by Melda Audio Productions. The last of the Melda Audio Productions plugins on this list, the M-Charm Verb is a comprehensive algorithmic reverb. In the global section, you can affect the dry-wet, reverb length, room size, and low and high cut filters. You can also introduce pre-delay, adjust its gain, and the reverb's stereo width. Under the global section, you can affect your reverb damping by setting the frequency, amount of attenuation, and Q for each filter. In the designer section, you have the ability to make your reverb more complex by adding additional delay threads and introducing modulation to these threads. Various functions allow you to alter your delay tap settings. Up top, you can introduce various presets, as well as randomize your settings. The input, output, and stereo width can be observed in the output window of the plugin.
Work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down, honey.
Last up at number 1, we have the Tall Reverb 3 by Togo Audio Line. Last up is the Tall Reverb 3, another algorithmic reverb that introduces classic reverb tonality to a signal. Now, this plugin consists of 7 sliders. The low cut attenuates the low frequency range of the input, while the high cut attenuates the high frequency range. The room slider increases the emulated room size, while the stereo width increases the stereo expansion into the 180-degree stereo field. Now, pre-delay causes delay before the actual reverberation. A wet-dry slider allows you to increase or decrease the values of both the dry and wet signals by turning them down by up to 18 dB or up as much as 6 dB. Up top, you can enable stereo input processing, which is best when you're adding reverb to an already stereo signal. You can also turn the plugin off with the power button on the top right. Lastly, if you'd like to see the signal chain diagram, you can click on the bottom banner to pull up its graphic. Now, although you can't interact with this graphic, it does help if you're trying to better understand the plugin. So these are our picks for the top 10 free mixing plugins, but what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you're an artist or an engineer, send us one of your mixes at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you gotta do is set up this short account, upload the song, and we can do the rest. But thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends. That way we know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week, and subscribing is the best way to stay up to date. There's a comment section where you can leave your thoughts on this video or make a suggestion for a future video. And again, if you're an artist or an engineer and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.